Halim Gabori runs a security company in San Diego. He came to the United States from Syria 25 years ago. That's about as long as he's waited for a revolution to take off in his homeland.
And say no to the genocide in Syria.
And now that it has, he's plunged into mobilizing local support for the uprising. But his involvement has come with a price. Recently, one of his security firm employees received a call from a man with an unambiguous message.
Tell your boss to watch himself.
Amnesty International says the Syrian government has followed and harassed pro-democracy Syrian protesters in the U.S. and Europe. Gabori says Assad has used every available resource.
Even the embassies here in the United States, the embassy and the consulate, were doing the Syrian government's job by spying on us.
He approaches the threats with fatalism and guilt.
You know what? If my family is going to die there, why am I sitting here and still being afraid? Because my family is going to die anyway.
News out of Syria is filled with stories of disappearances, imprisonment, torture, and massacres. Since the start of the 10-month uprising, more than 6,000 people have been killed, including hundreds of children. Mahmoud Harmouche is president of the San Diego chapter of the Syrian American Council. He checks British, American, and the Al Jazeera news websites hourly for information on his homeland. Information he can't get directly from his relatives in Syria because of fear.
Over the phone, they cannot say much.
Yeah, it's true.
It's only by scripted language they will say things. We do have fresh air. It is okay to have bread today and so on, which means really they don't have anything left. Everything is gone, like oil for warming their houses, even providing basic needs for their families. All of that now is out of there. In fact, just today somebody called me and said that they have not been with electricity for 9 days.
Harmouche says few are spared from the government's crackdown.
Even my mom, in front of her house, which is like old town in Idlib, northern Syria, they have 3-4 tanks stationed there day and night. And when those observers came to visit the city, they just covered them as like old cars.
San Diego County is home to about 1,500 Syrian families. Many want to lend their support anonymously out of fear their relatives back home might suffer reprisals. Gabori says Syrian American participation in the reform movement has translated into lobbying policymakers.
We do write letters, we do make phone calls, we do contact. I personally, and I know Mr. Harmouche do that, we go and visit politicians in our neighborhood. We bring them to our meetings.
Up to 500,000 Syrians live in the United States. They include Muslims, Christians, and Kurds. One Syrian American who has voiced his support for the anti-government protests is Abdul Fattah Jandali, the biological father of Apple co-founder Steve Jobs.
I reject the brutality and killing that the Syrian authorities are committing against the innocent people in Syria. And because silence is participation in the crime, I declare my participation in the Syrian sit-in on YouTube.
Syria has banned the use of the iPhone because of cell phone footage capturing the brutal crackdown by Assad's forces. But Harmouche says the ban's effect is negligible because Syrians have awakened from decades of despotism. That's why when he realized nascent protests early last year had gained momentum, he was overcome.
I was crying. I felt that the people returned to life and they really want out of slavery and oppression. I visited Syria in 2008 and I felt the people dead. By hearing that a revolution started even from Damascus and then went all over to Daraa and to central country, Homs and Hama, and then to Idlib and different cities in the country, I felt that the people are back to life and they are really wanting a freedom and democracy for real this time.
What is not known, Harmouche says, is how Assad will relinquish power.